Hey guys, today we're going to be having a look at a Mekede head unit, and this is one of their flagship head units with a lovely wide 12.5 inch QLED anti-reflection display with 8GB of RAM and a Snapdragon 662 8-core CPU, and it has all the good stuff like wireless Android Auto and wireless Apple CarPlay. Let's check it out. Now the thing that makes this particular head unit special is that it has been specifically designed to work with German cars. So I'm talking about BMW, Mercedes and Audi. So what Mekede have done is they have designed these particular Android head units which integrate with the car's Canvas network, the digital network where the head unit can talk to all the different features of the cars, and it should mean that you get lots and lots of new features without losing the older features which you have access to. For example, the Mercedes Benz, which I'll be fitting this into, has a ability to switch between drive modes from economical to sport, and I'm going to be making sure that when I install this, the functionality to move between those drive modes still exists, because that's going to be really important. Now the Mercedes-Benz that I'm going to be fitting it into does actually have Apple CarPlay already with a wire, but it has a very small screen. It's not touchscreen. So if you want to do anything on Apple CarPlay, you actually have to use knobs and buttons to actually move the cursor around so that you can do certain things. Aside from those particular features, this thing has a Snapdragon 662 8-core CPU and 8GB of RAM, which means that specification-wise is really fast. Now before I go any further, I will remind you that I do not get paid to endorse any company or products, including Mekede and this product. So this is going to be solely based on my experience unboxing it, installing it in the car and using it. However, I'm going to split this video up into two. So the video that you're watching now is just going to be me reviewing this head unit. I will do a separate video showing how to actually install it in the car. Anyway, let's get unboxing it and we'll get on with the review. And here it is, and as you can see, it is pretty big, 12.5 inch widescreen. So let's have a closer look. So you can see on the front here that they're trying to go as factory as possible, because all you really have is just the bezel and nothing else. And this does look very familiar. Mercedes generally do have this kind of bezel around the screen. On the back, we have the typical mounts here, which is what you will find on the Mercedes-Benz cars. Then we have a micro SD card, a SIM card entry point, because this has 4G internet. And then we have these two connection points here, along with a 4G and a GPS antenna input. That's all that you're really going to see on this particular head unit. And you might think, well, where's all of the other connections? Well, what you need to remember is this is not a universal head unit. Is one that is designed specifically for the German cars, and therefore it isn't going to be designed in the same way as a universal head unit. So this is going to be quite interesting for me as well. Let's see what else is in the box. So straight away I can see that this is very specific for a Mercedes install. I have a main loom here which has these two connections. One of these is going to go into the back of the factory radio, and then the other one will go back into the main loom. See, and the main reason for this thing is so that the original factory radio continues to work, and that's the whole point of this, is to add a screen with more functionality but keep the original factory system working. All of the buttons and knobs should still function with this new unit. So that's again something that I'm going to be testing. And then we have rear camera input, another video input here, and an auxiliary left and right input here as well. This loom has a couple of USB ports. It has this very weird connector here, something Mercedes specific, and we have a microphone connector here. We have an audio 3.5mm jack. We have a external microphone, we have a GPS antenna, and we have a 4G antenna as well. Right, time to go and stick it in the car. And here it is installed in the Mercedes A-Class, and just to give you a comparison, this is what the previous screen looked like, and as you can see it's rather a lot smaller than the display that's on there. This is about twice the size of what was there before. One of the other things that you might notice about this screen, apart from the size, is the fact that it has this kind of blue sheen on it. And that is Mekede's way of trying to reduce the amount of reflection that you get off of the screen. Anyway, without further ado, let's switch it on and see how it is. So it's now switched on. Image of the Earth. Loading. And there we go. So what you're going to notice is it's loaded onto the factory screen. So you've got the factory screen here, and then you've got a speedo and what looks like some form of animation here for when you're driving. But the point is, you've replaced the screen, you've upgraded it, and you still have access to the car's own features. And to test this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Vehicle. Look, I've got vehicle settings, I've got dynamic select. I can change everything. I have complete control over this car the same way as with the factory screen with this unit, so you don't lose anything. So the first thing that I want everyone to understand, if you put a decent screen in your car, you don't lose anything. You only gain stuff because you have access to everything that the original screen had. And the same goes for the radio. Go to radio, and it's there. Just turn that down a bit. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go to media, activating device, please wait, and it's immediately going to go to the new screen. That's how you access it. Oh, one other thing that I'll show you is when you are actually on the car info screen and you're looking at the factory screen, remember it was never touch screen before, and it's not going to be touch screen now. So if you do touch the screen, it's going to take you straight to the new system, and that's absolutely great. All right, let's get into it. So we'll start with the look and feel as we usually do. Now, on this particular screen, they do make a big thing about it being HD. Like, there's a big HD sign up here. In reality, the resolution is 1280 by 720p, so it's HD ready. But the fact is, it's sharp. If you consider the original screen, this one is about 480 lines of, sorry, no, it's actually about 320 lines of resolution. The fact that you're getting 720 lines of resolution, you're getting more than double the lines of resolution. So it is more than twice as sharp as the original factory screen, and you will see that immediately as you actually have a look at it. So as you can see, you're presented with 5 buttons. The first one here, music, is an app that plays back local music, and by local music I mean MP3 files that you've actually downloaded directly onto the massive storage within the head unit, or that you've got on a USB stick or on a micro SD card. You can play all of that music through this app here. Navigation opens the app of your choice, and in my particular case I have chosen Waze. Then we have apps, which will open up all of your apps here. Communications is for Bluetooth hands-free. I'll show you the settings later. On the next page we have HD video. Again, this is just an app that plays back any locally stored video files either on the actual head unit or on USB or micro SD card slots. Dashboard is really cool. If we open this, you can see that it gives you the instrument cluster on the actual screen, and it's not just the revs and the speedo. You also have the car, which shows you any open door, whether your handbrake is on, whether you're wearing your seat belt. Like, it is a proper dashboard actually on here. Whether or not you'll use that is entirely up to you, but I do think it's cool. Car info is how you actually get back to the actual display of the original factory car system. File manager just lets you play with all the files that are on your Android head unit, and phone link gives you access to Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, which I will show you later. And you might have noticed that I'm not actually touching the screen at all, because what I'm doing is I'm using the actual factory knob and buttons to navigate what's on the screen here. That is how integrated this system is. The actual car controlling systems all work on this screen. Brilliant. Okay, let me just show you the settings quickly. I'm not going to go into every setting. I'm showing you how well the user interface looks. It does look really nice. And of course you can use the factory knob to actually navigate and change any settings that you want to use. Now, I've just been playing with the settings a little bit and found that Mekede have actually put quite a few different other themes on this head unit so that you can change the look and feel of it yourself if you didn't like it. And what I've found here is one that very much looks Mercedes-Benz. It looks like the factory system. And this is pretty cool. It does actually change everything as well, not just the main launcher, but if we go into the settings, you can see that these are also designed in a different way as well. And the way that we do this is we go into the factory, and the password is 1314. And then we go down to UI configuration, and then you can select from one of these. So at the moment I've got it on UI NTG 5, so I'm going to try 5.5 and see what that looks like. So you're supposed to wait 10 seconds for it to take effect, and then you restart it, and you do that by just dropping down from the top, hitting the power button here, and then hitting restart. And there you go. It looks again very much like a Mercedes-Benz interface, just by the way that it looks on here. Let's just have a look at the menu again. Yeah, so really, really nice option to sort of get the look and feel that you want out of this thing. So it's time for the normal speed test to run everyday apps and see how long they take to boot up. So I'm going to run Waze, I'm going to run Spotify, and we're going to see how long they take. So let's start with Spotify. Yeah, practically an instant boot time for Spotify. Couple of seconds at most. That's really, really good. Tablet speeds, you couldn't want more than that. Right, let's have a look at Waze. Yeah, again, very, very short time. It's a couple of seconds, really, really quick, awesome. So as you can see, this is a really fast head unit. You're not going to have any trouble running any apps, multitasking, that kind of thing. It's fast. And one thing that I should note about this particular head unit as well is that it is Android 12. And that makes it one of the more later versions of Android, something that you don't generally see with Android head units. And it is really Android 12, not some dodgy, faked version. And that brings us nicely to the next section of the video, which is the features of the head unit. Now, as usual, Android gives you lots of ability to install any apps that you want, including all the video apps. But normally, when it comes to Netflix, you need to sideload an old version onto Android head units because the newer versions are not compatible. However, on this Mekede unit, it's the first time I have ever been able to run the very latest version of Netflix, which is absolutely brilliant. You still need to sideload it. It's not available on the App Store because Netflix blocks any unknown Android devices. But the fact of the matter is the very, very latest version of Netflix does actually work on this Android head unit, and that is awesome. So yes, you get Netflix, you get YouTube, and you can install pretty much anything else that you want on here. And that brings us on to the accessory side of the features section, because Android head units are compatible with pretty much every accessory under the sun. And that means if you want to have tire pressure monitoring systems, that's compatible with this. You can install a DAB stick and get DAB radio on this head unit if you want to do that. And then what I have installed on this head unit is the DVR, the dash cam. So as you can see out the front of the car here, and you can record this. And in the event that you encounter some annoying person on the road or a crash, you can play it back. And when talking about features, most people are interested in wireless Android Auto and wireless Apple CarPlay, and this does actually have both of them. So what we do is we go to Bluetooth and we connect to FSC CarKit here. Okay, and as you can see, it's gone straight to Z-Link. It says connecting, please wait. And there we go. So this is full Android Auto. You've got your music on this side and you've got your map here, and you can of course control the map. You can go into your apps here and find compatible apps in here as well. So this is full wireless Android Auto. So let's try wireless Apple CarPlay. So on your iPhone you go to FSC CarKit and you should see that it says connecting, please wait. So this is Apple CarPlay, completely wireless from the phone. As you can see, you can scroll and have your music on one side and your maps on the other, exactly like CarPlay is, and you have access to any apps which are compatible as well. And it looks great. You can see that it's got all of the icons on this side because this is the driver's side. It's taken into consideration that this is a right-hand drive car. And there you go, full wireless Apple CarPlay and wireless Android Auto on this Mekede device. Normally at this stage in the video, I'd be telling you all about the sound quality of this particular device. However, this is not a normal Android head unit. This was designed for these German cars which have factory systems, and this isn't replacing the factory system, it's just giving it additional features and feeding audio into the factory system. So from that standpoint, you can still control your sound via the factory system. You can adjust the bass and the treble and everything through the Mercedes-Benz functionality, the factory functionality. Although this device does give you some control over the audio. If we go into apps, you'll find something that says equalizer here, and then you have the option of changing to different equalizer settings. Bearing in mind that this is not a DSP, this is just software altering the sound, and that's all that this is. The best audio adjustment will come from the factory system. And that's pretty much it. I think Mekede have done a good job with upgrading the infotainment in this car. I'm pretty happy with the result of it. If I've missed anything in this video review, just ask a question in the comment section and I'll do my best to get back to you. If you want to know how to install this thing in the car, I have another video. I'll put a link in the video description so that you can see how to install it in the actual car. If there's any other Android head units that you'd like me to review, please just ask in the comment section and I'll see what I can do about doing that. If you enjoy this kind of content, please subscribe to the channel and I'll have lots more coming up soon.